Hey there folks, Kevin here, and today we're going to be talking about this. The Milwaukee M18 rubber broom attachment. It goes with this, the Milwaukee M18 power head with the Quik-Lok attachment. Now I've had this weed eater for couple years now, used it for a couple summers, couple seasons, and it has worked pretty well. It had one minor flaw, but maybe we can talk about that later. I bought it because it's one of the only electric weed eater heads that has multiple quick detach attachments, so that's why I use it. And I also have the hedge trimmer attachment for it. I've used this for multiple applications. Also, maybe we can talk about that again later. So I'm going to use this for a couple of projects around my house, and I'm going to take you along with me and show you how well it works or how well it didn't work. I'm not going to bore you with all the unboxing and assembly. I don't think you need to hear that from me. So without further ado, let's get going. And there you have it. So about that project. So this is the main project that I bought this rubber broom for. I'm going to show you a section of my yard that isn't quite fully grown in. I've only got a couple of seedings on it, so it's a little sparse right now. But the biggest thing I want to show you is this. If you look down in my grass, there's rocks, gravel all over the place, right? And one thing I know grass doesn't grow very well on is rocks, right? And it could just be a little bit of my OCD as well, but I just don't like this stuff in my yard, because someday I'd like to have a really nice full yard, and all these rocks in it just aren't gonna help. So Milwaukee's advertising videos, they claim that this is supposed to be one of the main purposes, is sweeping debris out of grassy areas. So let's just see how well it really works. All right, folks, so what you saw there was the very first run of my Milwaukee M18 rubber broom. So let's go ahead and check it out here real quick and let's see how it did. And you can see the difference where the ground looks a little more cleared and a little darker where it's kicked up some of the stuff and pushed. All right, folks, we're gonna try another run. This time we're gonna try it in a little thicker patch of lawn with a little thicker grass, and I'm gonna try to hold it down in each spot a little longer. You know, not move along so fast, give it a little bit more time to do its work. As you can see here, some of the spots here are a little thinner, kind of like the previous spot, but then as we get out over here, and as you can see, there's plenty of gravel and debris all over, just kind of like the other spot, but the grass is much thicker. You can see there's some gravel, but it's buried down in that grass pretty thick. So the lawn's a little thicker up here, and so let's see if the broom can do a little better work this time. So as you can see, I tried to hold it down a little harder or a little longer, press on it a little bit to make sure it had plenty of time to dig in and do its job. So let's see what we did. So definitely over here in the spots where there's less grass and it's a little clear, it seemed to do a pretty good job. I did see, I know there was one spot, like for example right here, you know, maybe I just missed it. Maybe I didn't hit that spot hard enough or long enough. But for the most part, even there's another little one right there. This one kind of not too hard embedded, but a little bit embedded in the ground. Didn't come up. This one actually it just tossed it up on top of the surface of the grass, so I'll count that one as a win. But you can see again where it dug down in and got under a lot of the grass. But then there's some of these rocks here that are not too terribly hard embedded, but you know, still, like right here, see, I'm not even pushing that hard on it, and it didn't get that. But you can see this is about where I stopped. Nerf dart from my kids, and the pile of debris that it blew over here. So it did get quite a few. It did actually get quite a few of them up, but we'll see. We'll do it. We'll try one more thing, see how well it works. Alright guys, now we're gonna try something a little different. I saw this in another video, some other guys did it. I don't think this is necessarily the way the manufacturer recommends, but we're gonna give it a shot. As you can see, I just essentially flipped this thing upside down to make the paddles of the broom pull the other way towards me, as opposed to pushing away from me. So So because all the stuff's going to be pushing towards me, I'm going to wear my eye protection. All right, let's give it a shot. As you can see, did about the same work, but I will say this, it's definitely a lot easier to control and to pull. When you're doing it the other way, you're essentially pushing the tool against the rotation of the broom, and it is quite a bit of effort going in the other direction. This way is much easier, much less labor intensive, and much easier to control. So this is a section I just did in reverse with the broom head turned upside down, and honestly the results seem to be about the same. It doesn't really seem to have done much worse, but again, there's another rock that was lightly embedded in the ground, and it didn't actually get those. And look, here's another one. You can see the grass is kind of thick around it, kind of not even. I just barely had to pull it up, and it didn't get that one. This one it got, and it was just sitting top. So I would say roughly about the same results. A little patch, a little open patch just on the other side of some thicker grass. A little patch of gravel that it didn't get. All right, folks, now that we've had a few runs at this thing and given it a few chances to do its job, let's talk about it a little bit. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm not sponsored in any way. I went down to my local Home Depot and I purchased this product with my own money, as I did with the power head and everything else that you've seen me use today. So initial thoughts, it's definitely not cheap. You know, $300 retail price tag makes it a little bit pricey for your average homeowner to buy just for, you know, a couple cleaning projects. It is easy to assemble right out of the box. You know, it took me a few minutes to get it together, and that was with, you know, thinking I made a mistake once and took it back apart and put it back together again. Very easy to get up and running, no adjustments, very easy to put on and just start using. So aside from that, it's a bit heavy. I would call it unwieldy. It's, when you're using it the proper way, it is a bit difficult to push. You have to lean into it quite a bit. I am just a few pounds over 200, and I had to lean into it pretty heartily just to get it to stay going forward and making progress. So if you are a smaller person, this thing could be extremely difficult to use, especially to use it effectively. It was much easier to use and control when pulling it in reverse, but that's not mentioned in the user manual, so technically you're using it in a way that's not actually prescribed by the manufacturer. As you can see from the couple of runs that we did and a couple of sections of my yarn, I feel like we only had moderate success. It didn't really do the application that I was hoping that it would do very well. It didn't really get down into the surface of the topsoil below the grass and really dig and rake those rocks out of there the way I was hoping that it would. Now, this thing might have plenty of other applications. I've seen people use things like this to clear snow off of sidewalks. I think it would, judging by the way that it's built, I would say it would probably be very good for that. I've seen another guy on YouTube push a bunch of loose gravel back into his driveway where the gravel was like in large piles. That seemed to do pretty well. So for other applications, this might be a good tool. This might be something that you might want to look into. Maybe for this, maybe the actual bristle broom, the bristle brush broom might be a little bit better, and maybe we'll try that sometime here in the near future. Honestly, again, for my application, for what I was trying to do here was to remove loose gravel and loose debris from a already semi-established lawn. Honestly, I think you might be better off just paying your kids or a kid in the neighborhood a few bucks, an hourly rate, and say, hey, here's a bucket, go out in my yard and pick up all these rocks. And I think you might actually have a better result than going down and paying $300 plus tax and whatnot to get this thing. So overall, not so good for what I just did. Might be better for other applications. Use your imagination. I'm sure this thing could be used in many different ways. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope this helps.